Hello everyone. In this tutorial, we are going to provide a solution to this interesting question. We have a rational function here, x divided by 1 plus x squared, and we ask to find the range of the function. Don't forget to like, comment, and share to other people. Let's get started. I'm going to present you two methods. But first of all, I would like to show you how the graph of this function looks like. Assuming you have y and x-axis like this function looks like this. Something like this. So when we're talking about domain, you can see it is from negative infinity to positive infinity. Why? This is a rational function, and there is no any value of x that can make the denominator to be 0. Therefore, we won't have any vertical asymptote. The domain will be from negative infinity to positive infinity. But the range will be what? The least value of y and the highest value of y. You can see that this is the least value of y and this is the greatest value of y. And all of these are turning points. This is why I said, let me construct the graph first. We know that the derivative at this point will be 0. So I think we can differentiate this function, set it to be equal to 0. It will give us the corresponding values of x at this point. Then we can plug them into the original function to find y values. That is the minimum and the maximum values. All right. To differentiate this, we have f prime of x equal to, this is rational function. We are going to apply quotient rule. Bottom times the derivative of the top. The bottom is 1 plus x squared. The derivative of the top is 1, so multiplying this by 1 will not change it. Then minus the top times the derivative of the bottom. The bottom will be just 2x. Divide by bottom squared, that is 1 plus x squared whole squared. So we're going to simplify. This will be, you can see that this is going to give us negative 2x squared. So we have x squared minus 2x squared will give us negative x squared. So to the top, we only have 1 minus x squared. The bottom, we have 1 plus x squared whole squared. So this is the derivative of this function. But we want the derivative exactly where it is 0. That will give us the horizontal tangent at that point. So at f prime of x equals 0, you know the denominator cannot be 0. Therefore, this will have to be equal to 0. This implies that 1 minus x squared is equal to 0. That is x squared equal to 1. Right? And this can only happen at x equal to plus or minus 1. It can be either 1 or minus 1 because 1 squared is 1, negative 1 squared is also 1. So we're going to take this value, negative 1 and positive 1, plug them here to find our range. So it means that we have negative 1 here and we have positive 1 here. So what will be the values of y? So y will be equal to, let's start with negative 1. Negative 1 divided by 1 plus negative 1 also squared. Negative 1 squared is 1 plus 1 is 2. So we have negative 1 over 2. Then y can also be positive 1, right? 1 divided by 1 plus 1 squared. This is 1 over 2. So it means that we have 1 over 2 here and we have negative 1 over 2 here. Therefore, the range, let me use this, from negative 1 over 2 to positive 1 over 2. This is our range. But let me show you the second method. But remember the final solution from negative 1 over 2 to positive 1 over 2. Remember, the input here will be the output for the inverse function, right? So instead, let us write this one as y. Let me come here. Y equal to x divided by 1 plus x squared. So let us make x the subject. We have x squared times y will give us yx squared then 1 times y is y. This is equal to x, right? Then bring x inside. We have yx squared minus x plus y equal to 0. Now we're going to solve for x. You can see this is a quadratic equation in terms of x. Therefore, x will be equal to minus b. What is b? B is the coefficient of x, which is minus 1. And minus 1 is plus 1. Then plus or minus into the square root of b squared. Negative 1 squared is 1. Minus 4ac. 4 times y, because this is a, this is c. 4ac. A and c are the same y squared, right? All under square root divided by 2a. 2 times y. So, remember we are looking for the output. Pay attention to the y. Y cannot be 0 because we don't want our denominator to be 0. And we have a square root here, and we know that the content of square root cannot be, must have to be greater or equal to 0, right? So this implies that this content, 1 minus 4y squared, must be greater or equal to 0. So let us solve. This is difference of two squares, which can be factorized, let me see. 1 squared minus 2y squared, right? Greater or equal to 0. This implies that 1 minus 2y times 1 plus 2y greater or equal to 0. From here you can, I think we can divide both sides by 2 here. So this becomes 1 over 2 minus y. 1 over 2 plus y. You see that? It will be from negative, if you assume it is an equation you solve, it will be from negative 1 over 2 to positive 1 over 2. So in either case, the range will have to be minus 1 over 2 to positive 1 over 2. As simple as that. Thank you for watching. Do share to your learning colleagues. Bye-bye.